Welcome back to the Round Ball Mining Company Denver Nuggets film room. Today we're going to be taking a look at some clips from the recent loss to the San Antonio Spurs, and we're going to be focusing on the Nuggets pick and roll defense, which despite the fact that they were blown out, really did show some improvement, and I think that's something of a silver lining that we can take out of this game, as well as the return of Kenyon Martin, which did play a role in the Nuggets' improved pick and roll defense. The Nuggets really have been suffering from two problems with their pick and roll defense this season. The first is a scheme issue, and that's where the coaches have been calling them to switch screens, which has caused mismatches and really been a failure for the most part of the season. The other is the bigs have not done a good job of hedging. Here you're going to see Nene challenges Manu coming off the screen and is able to tip the ball away. A good job by Aflalo chasing Manu, and also a good job by Nene jumping out and defending the ball handler. The other important aspect of pick and roll defense isn't just slowing down the ball handler, but also helping on the roll man to prevent an easy pass coming into the lane, and also rotating behind the pick and the roll. And you see here there's help on Duncan. There's no pass available there, and as Richard Jefferson drives, Nene is there to help out. Kenyon has recovered after hedging on the pick and is able to box out Duncan and get the rebound. Very solid defense by the Nuggets. The degree of difficulty on this next pick and roll is decreased slightly by the fact that it's between Roger Mason Jr. and Antonio McDyess. Still, you're going to see Nene is able to jump out, protect the lane, and he actually forces a turnover because he moves his feet so well. In this next set, you're going to see the Nuggets are going to defend a circle cut by Tony Parker. Nene is going to step into the lane after Parker receives the pass and shields off the lane and prevents Parker from getting to the basket. And then there's a pick and roll between Parker and Duncan. Johan Petro does a really good job of moving his feet. Nene comes over and helps on Duncan and forces him into a somewhat difficult jump hook. Good pick and roll defense, and they prevent the layup on the roll, which is something that's been a problem for the Nuggets for quite some time. Johan Petro actually makes a second appearance here on our sets of good pick and roll defense. You're going to see Tony Parker is going to get the ball back, and Petro's actually going to jump him here and force ball out of bounds. It isn't a turnover, but it's a deflection, and that's something that coaches look for in defense. In this next clip, you're going to see the pick and roll defense is stout at first with Chris Anderson slowing down Ginobili, but Ginobili beats him with a hesitation dribble. Kenyon Martin's there to help out. All along, Ginobili's pressured enough that he's not able to get the ball to DeJuan Blair on the roll, and you see the Nuggets scramble and rotate, and the result is a block shot by Anthony Carter. Very good all-around defense by the Nuggets. This aspect of the Nuggets pick and roll defense makes me nuts, and the guards are so used to having to body up to the roll man to prevent him from getting into the lane when they switch, which is what they've been doing a lot of this season. They don't step out. Look at all the space Aflalo has to step over the screen, and instead he runs into it, which is really pretty inexcusable. Nene has to come over and stop the penetration. Then there's rotation. Kenyon is left trying to defend the guard out on the wing. He does all right, but ends up getting called for the foul, and all that is because Aflalo doesn't get up close to Ginobili and step over the screen. We're going to slow this next possession down as there's a lot of really interesting things happening here. You're going to see, notice all the movement and the motion. The Spurs don't just have the ball handler bring the ball up and then run a pick and roll. They have Ginobili cutting up the middle of the floor to get the pass, and then there's more action between the wing player running off a screen and going to the other side, constantly forcing the defense to move and adjust to what they're doing before they run the pick and roll. It's not just running one little set and then making the defense adjust. As well as the Spurs movement, you're going to see the Nuggets do a good job defending it. They're able to handle the cuts and the picks. They're flowing and they're moving together cohesively. They keep Ginobili out of the lane. A good job by Martin there, and for some reason, Chauncey reaches in. They're going to get a 12-foot jump hook from Tim Duncan, which is a shot that you can live with. But unfortunately, Chauncey reached in. Now, the Nuggets did a good job on their pick and roll defense, but the Spurs really out-executed them. You're going to see an example of that here. Notice how McDyess comes running in to set the screen. It looks like he's going to set it high, but Parker sets up his man and then goes baseline, knowing McDyess is going to come set the screen on the baseline side. Nene and Petro are forced to come over and help, and that leaves Duncan open for the layup. A really good job of execution by the San Antonio Spurs. Here's another example of the Spurs executing out of the pick and roll. Ginobili's actually going to dribble away from the screen this time, and Kenyon recognizes that and comes over to help. Nene also is sinking down, though, and kind of over-helping. He gets away from his man, and McDyess is open, and he makes the jumper. If you're the Nuggets, you can live with McDyess getting that shot. That's who you want to be shooting for the Spurs, but if he makes it, that's not a good sign, and it wasn't a good sign for Denver. In this next clip, it starts off with Nene missing a layup, which was kind of a theme for the Nuggets. Nene really had a poor game. Even so, the Nuggets are able to recover in transition. They don't get caught in any mismatches, and they're ready for when the pick and roll comes. However, the Spurs pass the ball really well, and even though Birdman's there, the perfect pass gets past him and results in a layup for Tim Duncan. And in this last clip here, we're going to see a really nice move by Manu Ginobili, and it's made possible by Chauncey not recovering in time, but still it's a play that not a lot of ball handlers can make. Nene stops him, but Chauncey doesn't get over in time, and Manu gets to the rim for the layup. So as you can see, the Spurs really did a good job of executing in their half-court offense, and I would not put the blame on the blowout loss that they had as the Spurs on the Nuggets defense. They could have done things better, but the offense really is what let them down. And I am encouraged at this point that the Nuggets did play improved pick and roll defense. They got away from their switching scheme, which they have been overusing for the whole season. It's something that was just really not a good tactic and not something that the Nuggets should have been employing game in and game out. Still, you can see, even though they did a better job, they're still rusty. There are times where the help was a little bit too late. And I think had they been focusing on playing this style of aggressive pick and roll defense all season long, they would have done a much better job at this point in the year, and it would have also resulted in a few more wins for them, enough at least to make a difference between finishing second and fifth in the Western Conference. Thanks a lot for joining us on this edition of the Roundball Mining Company Denver Nuggets Film Room, and I encourage you to check out our blog at roundballminingcompany.com, a member of the ESPN True Hoop Network.